Okay, because we don't have a chairman, I'll call the meeting to order. I guess the first thing I'll do is I'll go through roll call. Greg Myrie,
Here.
Cindy Wright,
Here.
Wayne Feldmeyer, here, there you go.
Here.
Jim Weezer,
Here.
Arthur Glasspool,
Here.
Josh Grant.
Here.
I guess you want to go through the minutes or you want to,
I guess we can approve the minutes.
okay,
Welcome.
yes. Yeah, I mean, actually, if we, to these guys, I guess we could do it. You could do a quick intro and just say who you are and.
I'm Josh Hanna from Caledonia, lived here my whole life. So here.
Jim Weezer from Holcomb Township.
John Glasspool, Mount Prairie Township.
Larry Galston, Yucatan Township.
Wayne Feldmeyer, Yucatan Township.
Cindy Wright, Corolla Crescent, Crescent Township.
Greg Myrie, Commissioner.
Okay. And then I guess we'll want to approve the minutes. Is it a motion to approve it?
Here, I'll make the motion. Yeah, we approve the minutes of the meeting.
November 15 minutes. Okay.
Second.
In front of you, kind of put papers.
Um, and I guess the next thing we were looking at doing was, well, we were gonna, what we were thinking about doing was picking the delegate to go to the Board of Adjustment. How that works is there's one person from the Planning Commission that also serves on the Board of Adjustment. So to start the process off, I guess I made a list. And first thing I'll ask is, are there anybody who doesn't want to be considered for that activity? Yeah. It's then we will, you'll gladly be removed, no issues, no stigmas or anything. Everybody else is interested, I guess. Okay, then I guess what we were thinking about doing with that is I do have a roster. And I can pass these out, and if you'd like to do it this way, we could certainly do it this way where you would vote in writing, so people don't, in terms of who you would like to see. Or I'm certainly willing to do it that way if that works. And then we would go from there, take the top two, and then.
First.
You got the names down for the chairman, that'd be great too.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, yeah.
This was for the chair of the.
Yeah, I mean,
This is.
yeah, it depends on how you guys want to go about it, just basically bringing it to you. So,
Oh, so can we put everybody on, like if we want to do a chair and a
Yeah.
vice vote? Okay. And then Board of Adjustment.
but it'll be one at a time, then we'll go through. We'll just have the totals.
I'll nominate Cindy Wright for. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll second that.
Second. That messes up my vote. That was up my sheet already.
Okay, there's a motion in one. Roll call. All in favor, I guess, of Cindy Wright. Greg Myrie,
Yes.
right?
Abstain.
Wayne Feldmeyer.
Yeah.
Larry Gossett.
Yeah.
Jim Weezer.
Yes.
Jonathan Glasspool. Josh Grant.
Yes.
Okay. So realize once you're now the chair, you get to take it.
Yeah, right,
got it.
right. Yep. Got it. So now we need a vice chair. Do we have nominations for vice chair?
I'll nominate Josh Graham.
Second.
I'll nominate Jim Weezer.
Okay.
Right, seconded that?
Great. So we have two nominations for vice president. Okay, should we go through one at a time? Is that okay? Does we have any other nominations for vice president? So motion C.
The railroad ready.
So, let's see. All those in favor of Josh, say aye.
Aye.
Hey Josh, that was easy, wasn't it?
Any opposed? Okay. It's easy. Okay, so do you want to do Board of Adjustment in writing like this? Or,
Yeah, I mean, that was discussed earlier. And I mean,
or can we just do it?
if you're, it's really up to how you guys want.
I think you stay on the same schedule.
Okay,
I'm gonna nominate Jim Weezer to go to the Board of Adjustment.
I second that.
Alright.
Any other nominations for Board of Adjustment?
I make motion nomination cease.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor of Jim Weezer, appointed to Board of Adjustment?
Should do that maybe by roll call.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, we should.
Yep. Greg Myrie,
Yes.
you're right.
Yes.
Feldmeyer,
Yes.
Larry Gossett,
Yes.
Jim Weezer.
I'll abstain.
Okay, Jonathan Glasspool,
Yes.
Josh Grant.
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Then we have Jim Weezer on Board of Adjustments. Does that start tonight? Or does that have to be approved?
Probably gotta be approved, but.
I think you can start that.
You have materials I can look over.
Last minute.
Do that later.
Madam Chairman, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
You go through the same process every year for the appointee to the Board of Adjustment?
I think when the vacancy comes up, after their term is, when we have a vacancy from,
So you don't do this every,
I don't know.
No.
I-
She hasn't been on long enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have
That's
to,
true.
maybe here. It's the 3 years.
So Larry Hafner was at the end of his third year term.
Yeah,
This
term.
past year. So now we need another appointee for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So mine will off of this board
Nope.
next year, mine done, Board of Adjustment.
When your term comes, then we'll,
The term.
Would have to be reappointed. I
Right.
believe.
That's your third year. Third.
On this,
This is my last year.
Okay.
but on this board, so then his place on Board of Adjustment would have to be filled.
So it's really.
Okay.
We can just transfer you over to that. Meetings every time.
If I'm no longer on this board, I
Yeah.
can no
Serve
longer.
on both.
Yeah.
well, you gotta serve on both of them.
Right,
For the
this year, for 1 year.
So your term's up.
Does that answer? Okay, good. Any other appointments or anything else we need to do for housekeeping details for the beginning of the year? I have,
You approved all the minutes, correct?
Does that still work? I mean, in the past, they used to be a little bit later and we moved them up. A couple years ago and it just kind of seemed to work, so we've been sticking with that schedule, but. I guess we can kind of push everything back if the new people.
5 o'clock's gonna work for you guys that are just coming on?
Nobody else comes, right?
Well, board of adjustment is usually first, so they would start at 5 and then any commission with this time, so you're right, it's usually right around 2. So again. But then, are we starting too early or is it okay?
Perfect.
anything else? that you need? Okay, should we go into our hearing? First one that is definitely on time is Rosh and Shauna Mundinger from Brownsville Township. We want to have some comments on that first, Martin?
Well,
or-
hold on.
Well, he's gonna do his thing, I think, first.
Who's here?
Need this one?
Notice of public hearing. Please take notice that an application has been made by Ross and Shauna Mundinger, 1631 Green Bay Street, across Wisconsin. 54601 for a conditional use permit to have a dwelling in an agricultural district, section 14 through 14.3. Conditional uses subdivision 1, subsection 10 in Brownsville Township on the following premises: two-way, part of the northwest quarter lying north of road and not sure of the western half, southern quarter, northwest quarter, section 14, township 103, range 4, Houston County, Minnesota, parcel 0200210002. Said applicant standing and making application as fee owner of said described land. The hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room, City of Caledonia, Minnesota, at 5 p.m. on Thursday, January 25th, 2024. All persons having an interest in the matter will be given the opportunity to submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. Comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department, 304 South Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota, 55921, or emailed to martin.eric@co.houston.mn.us. Must be received by Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Comments in regard to the petition received by this date will be part of the public record and will be made available for review by the Planning Commission prior to the meeting. Houston County Planning Commission by Mark Herrick, zoning administrator.
Okay, do we have someone here tonight to speak to this?
Please come up front.
Come on up. Please introduce yourselves. The record.
I'm Ross Mundinger, this is my wife, Donna.
Hi. Great.
You know,
Feel free to sit as you speak to us, please.
Sure. She's not on it. So, in essence, our plan is to build a single-family dwelling on the property. It'll be a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath with attached garage, just under about 2,500 square feet. No other structure.
Okay, should we have some discussion?
How large is the lot that you have?
5 acres.
5 acres. In the notes, Martin, you talked about setbacks from the shoreland. Briggs kind of go through that and explain.
Sure. What the situation is it's in shoreland, but in this application, the shoreland requirement setback is 100 foot from the ordinary high water level. Or with the timing of the year, we weren't able to get out and take a look at it at that time. So what I did is I scaled from the worst point I could find on Beacon and scaled back to define, how far they would be in terms of from likely where that point would be, which is pretty close to where the ordinary high water level would be. What we also did is we checked the slopes, and you'll see that in the back of the thing. I used Min Topo and a couple others to try and evaluate, make sure that it was not in bluffland along the shore. And it did not come in at 18%. If it would have been at that level, that would have changed some of the circumstances. So we checked that on basically on both points of likely where the house is going to be placed. That's in the back of the notes. You'll see those calculations. And what will have to be done is once it's snow is melted, we can get out there. We'll go out and take with Dave Walters from Bowser, and we'll measure 100 foot from where he considers the ordinary high water level to be. Come back, and that'll be the setback distance for shoreline part of it.
So you're going to do that?
That will have to be done.
Okay.
If they need to move the house, will that would the township road come in play there or not?
The township road is likely gonna be up in the front and then they're gonna come across. They're gonna have some work. You know, to do that, or they can come in close to your, I guess it'd be your parents, and come across that shallow. And then just have a long.
What direction is that? From the parents to, so
West.
on here? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments?
So you're gonna put it down by the creek?
It's up on the hillside.
Oh, it is
The
up.
creek's down.
There's a pretty healthy elevation drop there. You don't really see it. It's
Yeah, it looks like there'd be
Mhm.
quite a bit of drop there.
I think I would have been up in this and looked at this too.
Any other questions or comments?
Now, being new on the board, do we generally go out and look at the location to get a better view
I, there's-
of proposed building site?
you're certain, I mean. Some people do.
I was there the other day.
Yeah, okay. So that's look okay, then, for the what
Yeah.
they're proposing.
Like they discussed, it's kind of steep and it's gonna be close to the. I think that's down below them, but according to Martin, it should work, so. yeah.
Okay,
And there's nothing there currently, right? No dwelling? No.
That was one thing we did look at, that originally they had proposed another location and that was in an occupied quarter section, so it was like.
Okay. Mhm.
This will be on its own 40 and everything.
It's occupied, yeah.
Any other points at this point? You want to discuss the findings of fact?
Yeah. that's okay.
Oh, just, how about anybody in the public? Does anybody have any questions or comments? Okay.
First finding will be,
We should eliminate findings number 8, 9. 12, 13, 14.
yes,
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor of that?
I,
Any opposed? Motion approved. Okay, so you want to start through
Yep.
number 1?
number one, that the proposed use conforms to the county land use plan. Staff analysis, single-family, non-farm dwellings are conditionally allowed in the agricultural protection district. This protects agricultural interests, which is the primary goal of the comprehensive land use plan.
Okay. All those in favor? You want to go through it?
So,
One, well, we'll do them individually. You want me to do a roll call? Or do you want to do a voice?
I think voice vote is fine.
Yes, we do.
I,
Any opposed? Okay.
I,
Yes,
Okay.
Waiting on Larry.
What's that?
I was just waiting on Larry to see if you were gonna vote.
He did.
Aye.
He did. Everybody voted, including me.
Right.
I just-
Number two, that the applicant demonstrates a need for the proposed use. Staff analysis, the applicant indicates the dwelling is a single-family, non-farm dwelling. Housing is a needed use.
Okay, any?
Or you can do it once.
We can just do votes. Let's, all those in favor of point 2?
yes,
Yes. Any opposed? Okay. Now, go on to the next one.
Number three, that the proposed use will not degrade the water quality of the county. Staff analysis, the new dwelling with proper erosion control and septic treatment will have minimal impact on the local water quality.
Okay, so this is not involved in what you need to further check out. Water quality is.
Right.
Okay,
What we were talking about was flooding.
so nothing with this.
Nope.
Okay. All those in favor of that finding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, moving on.
Number 4, that the proposed use will not adversely increase the quantity of water runoff. Staff analysis measures such as the erosion control plan will be in place for the construction of the new dwelling to minimize water runoff.
Okay. All those in favor of the finding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same signs. Okay, moving on.
Number 5, that soil conditions are adequate to accommodate the proposed use. The soil conditions will not be a concern other than locating a second absorption area in an undisturbed location. Soil conditions are adequate for the proposed use.
Okay, all those in favor of the finding,
Aye.
any opposed? Moving on.
That potential pollution hazards have been addressed and that standards have been met. Staff analysis, there are no anticipated pollution hazards.
All those in favor of the finding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks. 7.
That adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Staff analysis. The owner will be responsible for all utilities on the parcel as it is a new site and the township will have to approve driveway access to 10 Bluffs Drive.
Any comments or questions on that? If not, all those that are in favor of the proposal, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, skipping 8
And 9.
and 9. So moving on to 10.
That the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. Staff analysis, the new dwelling will have a low profile view shed and the closest neighbor is located 700 feet away. The addition of a dwelling is not anticipated to negatively affect the use of neighboring properties.
Okay, all those in favor of the finding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, 11.
That the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for predominant uses in the area. Staff analysis, the predominant land use is agriculture and the continuation of which will be minimally impacted by the new dwelling. The area continues to be agricultural and the dwelling should not impact neighboring landowners' ability to utilize their properties for existing uses.
Okay, all those in favor of that finding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Let's see, 12, 13. 15.
That the site-specific conditions and such other conditions are established as required for the protection of the public's health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Staff analysis, public health, safety, morals, and general welfare are not anticipated to be impacted.
Okay, all those in favor of the finding, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on to the information. Anything else you want to discuss?
I can read the recommendation.
Yeah.
What? What's that?
I'll make a motion to accept the findings.
Oh, the full, yeah. Thank you. Any opposed? Okay.
Right.
Now, let's see, how about findings of fact? Do we want a motion to recommend or approve the rest of the recommendation here?
All right, you want me to read it?
Yeah, you can read it through.
All
please.
right, recommendation. The Planning Commission must consider the criteria above. Should the permit be granted, staff recommend requiring the following conditions. 1, the permittee shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations. 2, the county may enter on the premises at reasonable times and in a reasonable manner to ensure the permit holder is complying with the conditions and all other applicable statutes, rules, and ordinances. Proposed motion to recommend approval of a conditional use permit for a dwelling in the agricultural protection district.
Okay, do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion to approve. I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor of the approval, please say aye. You want a roll call vote on that?
Greg Myrie,
Yes.
Cindy Wright,
Yes.
Wayne Feldmeyer,
Yes.
Harry Gosling,
Yes,
Jim Weezer,
Yes,
Jonathan Glasspool.
Yes.
Josh West.
Yes.
Okay. And no, none opposed. Okay, great. Yeah, that's it. Spot on.
thank
You and me, guys. Yeah. All right, excellent. Thank you so much.
Right.
Okay, moving on. What's next? Okay, the second on the agenda is to discuss the recommending adoption of a proposed ordinance regulating a no wake zone for the West Channel of the Mississippi River to the Houston County Board of Commissioners. Mike, would you like to speak to this? Mike Hellinger?
Yes, I'm Mike Hollander, I'm representing the city of La Crescent. So I just have. Oh, you. Notice for the public hearing.
Okay.
You guys have to-
Yes. You want to read that first?
Yeah, I do. It's just a map that I was gonna pass out. Oh, all right.
So this goes along with what we received with the ordinance information, right? Okay. Oh, it's in color. Thank you.
County of Houston, notice of public hearing and intent to adopt an ordinance. Please take notice that a public hearing pursuant to Minnesota statutes 394.26 will be held on Thursday, January 25th, 2024 at 5:20 p.m. in the Commissioners Room, Houston County Historic Courthouse located at 304 South Marshall Street, Caledonia, Minnesota. The Planning Commission will discuss recommending adoption of the proposed no wake zone ordinance related to the regulation of boats in the Mississippi River commencing at the West Channel Bridge and concluding at the main channel entrance for the West Backwater Channel River Mile 699 within the boundaries of Houston County, Minnesota. Copies of the proposed ordinance are available for viewing at https://www.co.houston.mn.us/ordinances mdocs file equals 7803. Hard copies can be requested from the zoning office located at 204 South Marshall Street, room 209, Caledonia, Minnesota, or viewed during regular office hours at the auditor's office located at 304 South Marshall Street, room 116, Caledonia, Minnesota, Houston County Planning Commission, and Martin Herrick, zoning administrator.
We also have the draft ordinance.
Yes.
Available too. Do you want to read through that? I think everybody has a copy. But this is what the proposal would be. Right? Or do we want to have Mike address?
Right. I mean, I can read the ordinance if you want, or.
Go ahead.
Okay.
And then we'll have discussion.
Oh, okay. Houston County Ordinance number 16, an ordinance relating to the regulation of boats in the Mississippi River commencing at the West Channel Bridge and concluding at the main channel entrance for the West Backwater Channel near River Mile 699 within the boundaries of Houston County, Minnesota. County of Houston does ordain and enact the Houston County 100 no-foot wake zone ordinance, section 1. The following words and phrases when used in this ordinance have the following meanings. Boat is, number 1, boat is any watercraft as defined in Minnesota statutes 86B005 subdivision 18. Number 2, motorboat means any boat propelled by machinery as defined in Minnesota statutes 86B005 sub D9. Number 3, the Mississippi River between mile 698 and mile 699 and all bodies of water that together with their connecting channels are part of the Mississippi River located within the county of Houston, state of Minnesota. A map thereof is on file in the office of the Houston County Engineer, the Houston County Auditor, and is attached to the original draft of this ordinance. Number 4, persons includes an individual partnership, association, corporation, or any body of persons. Number 5, slow minimum wake speed means operation of a motorboat at less than planing speed, whereby the wash or wake created by the motorboat is minimal and in no case a speed of more than 5 miles per hour. Number 6, West Channel Bridge refers to the Highway 1461 bridge across the West Backwater Channel of Mississippi at the Minnesota-Wisconsin state line and adjacent to the DNR Sportsman's Boat Landing. Section 2, in the interest of public health, safety, and general welfare, the following regulations are imposed on all motorboats operated, placed, or maintained in the Mississippi River between mile 698 and mile 699, being that part of the Mississippi River and its connecting channels within the boundaries of Houston County, Minnesota. Number 1, no person shall operate a motorboat at greater than a slow minimum wake speed within 100 feet of the shore in the West Backwater Channel of the Mississippi River between the West Channel Bridge near River Mile 698 and the main channel entrance near mile 699. Number 2, motorboats utilized by government agencies and rescue craft while on official business shall be exempt from the provisions of this ordinance. Section 3, the Sheriff of Houston County is authorized and directed to inform the public by official notification as well as by posting and buoying the West Backwater Channel of Mississippi River between the West Channel Bridge near River Mile 698 and the main channel entrance near mile 699. The Houston County Sheriff's Office and Minnesota conservation officers are authorized and entitled to enforce the provisions of this ordinance. Section 4, penalties: any person who shall violate any of the provisions of this ordinance shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. Section 5, effective date: the ordinance shall become effective upon its passage and publication as required by law. Adopted by the Houston County Board of Commissioners this 27th day, February 2020.
So that is to be the proposal. Okay, so, and then everybody have the colored map, so can we have some discussion like this?
Sure. So on behalf of the Crescent community, we just wanted to talk about the problem that we have because I think there's been some misunderstanding. So one of the things that's happened in the area on the Wisconsin side, as the city of La Crosse has put in a number of improvements on their side of the river, and that has been mainly in the main channel, and that's to accommodate the large visiting boats that are coming in. And so they have imposed a number of no wake areas. And as a result of that, it forces all of the traffic that would like to travel at a faster than no wake to come down the West Channel area. And what's compounded that is that the area's experienced a number of fishing tournaments, sometimes as many as 60 in the summer. Most of those are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they have an early 5:30 start time. So those boats are all released at the same time, sometimes as many as 100 participants. And these are not pleasure crafts. These are competitive bass boats that travel at extremely high speeds. So what's happening in that West Channel is we're getting as many as 60 boats in a very short period of time, sometimes less than 20 minutes coming through that area, which is all private residence. So we get a compounded wake that occurs that's causing damage to private docks and also to both sides of that river. And so we're asking for some support to invoke this no wake zone in this area as a safety for the property owners and other people in that area.
What about jet skis?
I think jet skis fall into all of that. So that area would be restricted for high-speed jet skis at the same time.
How about landing an airplane?
I don't know if we have any control or you have any control over that.
I know guys said, do it. You know, and you're making rules and regulations. You're gonna have to talk to the aviation community too on this.
Yeah, all this is doing is regulating boats. This is a very narrow channel. If you've come through the West Channel area, this is looking north. You'll see that it narrows. There There isn't a wide channel there. I doubt if we'd have anybody landing any aircrafts there.
So is the president proposing to pay for all this?
I don't think there's going to be any cost. If there is some buoying that would be required, we would participate in that, but as it is right now, most of the buoys are not being put in on the Wisconsin side. It's being enforced by the police there, and then they're using this as a posted map. And so I don't think there's going to be any expense. The city of La Crescent has a boat, and our police are on the scene and many times, but there's nothing to enforce. We have no authority to slow down the speed
Pay
of
for the buoys.
Pardon?
Who's gonna pay for the buoy?
If there's some requirements for buoys, the city would pay for those.
They would pay for all that because we checked into it, it's $7,500 for the buoys, and then it's $1,500 a year to put them in.
We were told that there are buoys available to us from La Crosse because they're no longer installing the buoy.
I asked about it, I haven't heard back.
Okay.
From the town of Shelby.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
I have no problem with it, the president's gonna consume all the expense, but I don't think it's fair to the taxpayers to pay for it.
How about, would any of this fall to the DNR or from Wisconsin or probably?
This is boundary water, so if you adopt this, it'll be enforced by both Wisconsin and Minnesota.
Okay.
And this ordinance is dovetail with the Wisconsin ordinance, so both the city of La Crosse and La Crosse County have boats on the water.
Mhm.
Especially during these tournaments, and so if this was in place, they would also enforce the no wake in that area.
The idea with 100 foot was it's, they don't, where exactly the middle of the river is and
Yeah.
where the state line is kind of,
Gray area.
yeah. And we're very sure that at 100 feet, it's still within Minnesota and
So if I'm one of these bass fishermen and I'm roaring up through there about 70 miles an hour and all of a sudden I hit this no wake zone. So I gotta throttle her back. I'll be through it before I get slowed down.
it's a mile.
Huh?
It's 1 mile, yeah.
No, it's
It's
100
not-
feet, they said.
Oh, no, I was
From
from
the shore.
the
Oh, yeah.
traveling distance.
But I mean, if you got a boat going 70 miles an hour, by the time he pulls his throttle back, he's gonna be most of the way through that no wake zone. And then you got create bigger wakes.
I would think there'd be some proposed changes in any of those tournaments as far as communicating.
Yeah, so most of these boats are very sophisticated, so they have GPS on them, so they know exactly where it's no wake and where there isn't. And so they're following that. It's just that with La Crosse's closure of almost all of the routes south, it's their only fast route through.
Yeah, but a jet ski doesn't have any of that stuff.
No, and they'll just have to be a no wake if it's less than a mile of waterway that there would be no wake.
The intent was for signage at the beginning by Sportsman Landing.
Okay.
And then potentially on the other side. I have talked with Wisconsin Department of Transportation and on wouldn't be quite on the parapet, but I'd be on which is the upright of the bridge. It would be on the metal mesh that's on the sides that a sign would hang down from there. Meeting the Coast Guard requirements for
Mhm.
the notice.
The other thing is a personal watercraft are supposed to stay 100 feet away from shoreline anyway. It's only the boats that are exempt from that.
So the county will have the water patrol, correct?
Correct. But the city of La Crescent also has a boat they have on the water from time to time. Serves as rescue and also enforcement.
So with the ordinance is put in place, and it's gonna be interesting to enforce the ordinance, but that's that once they have the ordinance in place, then they can act on that.
We've had several meetings with La Crosse on this and also with the people that are sponsoring the bass tournaments.
Mhm.
And without an ordinance like this, they have no way of telling people
Right.
or enforcing something. So it was their recommendation that we put an ordinance in place to do this.
We met with the Cross Harbor Commission.
Well, what would be the
And
fine for,
The fine is stated and it's following whatever the state of Minnesota requires.
misdemeanor,
For violation of that.
you gotta violate it before you find out what you're gonna get fined?
No, it has to follow the state requirements for fines on the waterway, so the state would have to follow that. That's set by the
Mhm.
DNR, as I understand it.
They currently have, whatever that
is
is.
it
They have,
300?
Yeah. I don't know what the amount is. Yeah.
I don't have my 16-foot pipe, I don't know. 30 miles. Guess when we have a designated landing for the bass fishermen.
A landing? Or
Yeah, we're talking about
Yeah.
supposed to be there. What's-
Actually, what this is an organized tournament and this, it starts at the Clinton Street Boat Landing. And sometimes, if it's a national tournament, we have about 200 boats involved in it. And so they put in at other locations, the non-participants, put in other locations that are already using West Channel for that.
Yeah, I can understand, but I'm a fisherman, river rat, call it. It's the only quick way to get anywhere.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
When I know how big the rocks are, bank, and it's.
We've had quite a bit of damage in the area with private docks. In the last few years, we've had high water in the middle of the summer. And with that high water, we have erosion that's occurring in people's yards because the water is that high.
I can understand, I don't know what you did,
The problem is that the TNR tells us unless we have something like this in place, there's no enforcement. This isn't the main channel, it's the west channel, so the rules are different from the main channel.
Mhm.
should be seen by the water.
I think our property owner has been very frustrated by, we've been working on this for about 5 years now.
Yeah.
So since Lacrosse put their restrictions in on the main channel, we've had all the traffic on side channel.
See, this was
Mhm.
brought up about 20 years ago when Common Visions had it. And they were trying to do that along Mississippi back then. For some reason, that never got done. You know, the DNR just wanted to make their own regulations for everything along the river. You know, and. Well, if you go look at the riverbanks and everything right now, they don't let you farm near the riverbanks or anything. So the people are gonna all lose on this.
So other concerns besides who's gonna pay for what? And then enforcing down the road, because once this is in place, then there's gonna be some additional costs for service to that area. Anybody else have any other thoughts on
Thing is,
proposed
you took an airplane
issues?
and landed an airplane and no wake, so. You just gotta take your numbers off your aircraft and they'll send you the ticket.
Well, they should have some form of their own GPS too, right?
I
Well, the way I look at it is, I think that we're gonna supply the river patrol because we have it already. The county does.
Yeah.
And if they wanna pay for the buoys, putting them in and out in the Crescent, I would say I'd be in favor of letting them have it then. The county cannot pay for this because then what are you gonna do down at Loris Lake Marina all
Yeah.
the way to Shellhorn?
That makes
They're all
sense, right?
gonna want, they're all
Yeah.
gonna want no wake zone signs.
And the concern is primarily residents of that area.
I feel our taxpayers should not have to pay for somebody's trip fund.
Anything else? Anybody has comment, thoughts?
Are all Wisconsin's restricted areas, are they marked?
The GPS and this type of mapping, and that's why they're no longer using buoys.
So they're not even using the
No, they're not.
That's how the town of Shelby has the extra ones. The town of Shelby is down by Goose Island.
Right.
Mhm.
And so going forward, I think the first year it would probably be buoyed, but once it's recorded, we probably wouldn't buoy it either. Um, So,
You would have a signage at Sportsman's Landing then?
Yes, there would be one on the
Yeah.
bridge. As you're going north.
Go ahead. Would you like to speak?
That- the sign would
Can you
say-
tell us, can you tell us who?
Come up front, please. Come up front.
We're trying to, well, no, we're trying to hear you, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, if you, oh, sorry. Yeah. perfect.
I'm not a photographer, but the distance that I measure Google Earth is about 2,900 feet, probably a little bit over a half mile. And the narrowest part of that channel is 330 feet. And now that doesn't include the shallow ends where the dock's sticking out. So that's not a big, it's not a long distance. Also, if you do the math, it's not going to take somebody that much longer. And it's going to be 30 to 40 seconds longer to get through that area. And it's not just bass boats. There's a lot of personal, whatever you call it, personal watercraft.
Mhm.
I've been out to a kayak and people do not respect the right of a person. They think it's kind of fun to go up and have a wake. That's a beautiful area in there. That could be great for paddle boats and other things. It's not much, it doesn't take much longer to go through there at a no wake zone than at 60 miles an hour because it's a short distance. Because in the Martins, you've got the Highway 1461 bridge there, so that's pretty obvious
Mhm.
where it starts. And you have the wing dam on the other end, that's pretty obvious, and that's already buoyed by the city of La Crosse. There's buoy on either end of it. So it's pretty well already marked, the north and south areas. So,
Mhm.
and I'm a property owner along there. And it's not just bass boats, there's a lot of other traffic in there too. That needs to be.
Mhm.
There's no barges go through there.
There are no barges that go through. Again, I get through the wind.
I don't think it's really.
And the other thing is Minnesota does not have a no wake zone that kind of Wisconsin is. And Wisconsin's own the line about shoreline.
Right, it's a,
Yeah.
it's
And so Minnesota doesn't have anything about that. So you can come through there at 100 miles an hour.
that's part of the nuance that the other side doesn't meet the definition of development.
Right. The other side was
Okay.
The
Yeah.
Gundersons own
Right,
that, they're not.
right. Right.
anything
And
else.
so you're bringing up some safety issues then too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think there's a safety, I think the safety issue is important, is important, if not more than the erosion issue. It's a very, very narrow channel.
Mhm.
I don't think people realize how narrow that is.
Mhm.
And I did bring some pictures of it. I don't know if you want, those are, anybody wants to see them.
Sure. So, and just discussing it too, it sounds like, some of these changes that happened within the last 5 years, we are reacting to what's happened because of that too.
correct.
These are not high quality that you get rid of. Here's the problem. May I?
Yeah, please. Great, thank you. Okay. We'll look at them and pass them down. So you guys are- It's the same. Okay.
Investments, oh, and years.
Share.
Oh,
We could look at that.
That's the darn all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good view.
Thank you. But you want to explain the thing that this is.
No, that's.
Okay, well,
Okay.
the picture here, it's got it. There's the wing dam that's showing on the right. And then you can see the Highway 1461 road on the top.
Mhm.
And then there, I drew a line, roughly 2,845 feet. From that road to the wing dam. And then I kind of picked up what looked to me by sight, the narrowest part and measured that. That's 331 feet.
Which isn't very wide. It's not very wide.
No, so we're talking less than a half, or a little over half.
Mhm. Okay,
Thank you.
any other comments on that?
This is certainly available on Google Earth. Everybody can-
Thank you. That's a really good, it's always better to see photos and diagrams.
Yeah.
When we're looking at it. Yes, come up, please.
My name is Dave Anfol. I'm ex-airport pilot. And nobody in their right mind would attempt to land a seaplane on the west end. Without a roof. It's the rocks on the north end, and spurs on the south end. That argument is what mute. The seriousness that we have is of the permit boats over there, what the main concern is. These boats are going by at 60, 70 miles an hour. And with these boats, it's probably shortly be with 650 horsepower motors, which is now available. You're talking 80 to 100 miles an hour. And when these boats are going by, they want to get by as fast as possible because they got to get back to the determined release point.
Mhm.
And that's why they speed like they do. But when they're going by, granted, one boat doesn't make that much weight. When you have a confluence of them, of multiple boats within 15 seconds of each other, you have an overlapping effect. Like the time it comes to the shoreline, you have wave action. So that's part of the problem with that at high speed. Now, when they're coming to shore to fish, like there's a dock, they'll come in wide open until they're about 50 feet away, and they'll stop cock, pull the balls back immediately. The rear of the boat goes straight down into the water, putting an elation wake ahead of them. Then once it goes comes back down, then it'll go into their small electrical motor.
Motor. Mhm.
When you decide to leave, when it's full speed, follow the wall, up towards the boat and down, throwing an elation wake to the docks. And if any young kid would be out there, possibly could be wiped, washed right into the water. It's a very dangerous situation. In other words. And they're going to continue to use the West Channel because it's supposedly it's faster. You come out of the Black River area, go north, then go back, then go south past the West Channel, get down to fisheries and over into the pool. Instead of going through that no-wake area in front of Riverside Park. And the way back, they're coming back through for the south, doing back with the West Channel. Then that's it when they're all side by side, going 60, 70 miles an hour. Unless you witness this thing, you wouldn't believe it. They're crazy. They have you into a confluence of about a 25-foot wide opening in the North Dam, which is marked by the cross who run the turbines. See over that clothing dam. Then they shoot back down towards across and then go up to Black River. Supposedly the officials from the Advanced Turbine people have indicated that if an area has an ordinance in effect, they will abide by it.
We
You
do
have
have,
to have what's under control.
sorry, we do have that on record. We
Okay,
had that.
So consequently, they will avoid the using that method against the fisheries at that point. They'll go through the cross, they'll wake area down island area, then shoot south from there. It's just a simple fix. No wake area. Channel. The safety reasons and erosion of the land. Wisconsin side. where you see multiple trees that are laying over on the side of the lot hills. Way back. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion? From those, from the public or from the members here? Anything else? And I think we've had it, it looks like what we're after, Martin is recommending the adoption of the ordinance and moving it on to the county board. So it looks like we've had, discussion of who's gonna pay for it. Or what we can have to use, and not have to pay for something. And then also the enforcement will be up to those agencies that are working with it after it's in place. Otherwise, there's safety factors involved, erosion factors. The inconvenience might be on the other side of slowing down for 30, 40 seconds. But is there anything else? That's my view. Anybody else has any other comments?
Well,
Why we wouldn't?
I think that we should have adopt the ordinance, but have the city of the Crescent adopt the ordinance for the no wake zone. Cause it's right in the Crescent area.
Yep.
And if they would do that, adopt it, I have no problem with permitting it and pay for it.
Can it be a dual?
We were told by the county attorney that we don't have the authority to do that. And that's why it's been brought to the county.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But I think it's still a partnership, within
Correct.
the city.
If
Yeah.
there's a mechanism for us to adopt it, we would have done that some time ago.
Well, I have no problem with it, but I don't think the county should be paying for any of it, so.
Okay.
Well, could we put that in the regulation?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean,
I think that's what we ought to do.
Well, we'll put it in your recommendation.
Yeah, right.
Recommendation will go to.
For the operational piece of that too.
Yeah, it's only fair. I don't think we should be paying for buoys. I got a
Yeah,
little rock
makes
on my
sense.
drive too.
That makes sense. And it sounds like there's some other reasonable ways to get that paid for. So anything else that anybody wants to discuss, or do we want to have a motion to move this forward?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, we have a second.
Guess I just want to clarify, so the motion is that we recommend approval of the ordinance with stipulation that we feel the city should be responsible for any operation.
For the cost.
How do you know?
Is it operational costs? It's actually physical costs too. Yeah. That they are.
If there's any signage or buoys required.
Yeah, you want to see installation costs, of signage, buoys.
Any installation cost, I would say it's kind of
Because
hard to
in
get
obvious
specific.
enforcement, it's gonna be different.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because the city can't enforce the county part of that.
And we do have both patrol.
Yeah.
Something, so that's. we're
Okay,
Enforcing that.
so did you get that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna restate it.
So responsible.
City of La Crescent.
Okay.
And all current costs, yeah. Just put all current costs. That would cover it.
Well,
That's a little broad.
no,
Slipping that in there. Okay. Other than that, it's, subject to what, Houston County would approve
Right.
as their ordinance.
we will
Did we
put the
have a second?
recommendation together.
Do we have a second?
Go to the-
Yeah, we had a second for this.
No, I think you were
Did I?
questioning or didn't you
Yeah.
second it?
I guess I would have.
I made the motion. He seconded.
And then the comments occurred.
Did you read the
So,
motion back to us, Amelia?
Responsible for installation of equipment.
Wouldn't it be better on future costs?
Well, I would imagine if they're gonna have them put in and out every year, there's gonna be a
Future.
yearly cost and that would. I would
Annual
think that's
cost.
Annual cost, so that would be in there, all annual costs put on it. That would be taking care of that.
and then subject to, anything that the Board of Commissioners wants to
Right,
include in there as well.
right. This is purely a recommendation.
Right. Yeah, we're not
Not there.
rewriting it completely here. I think it's a great idea. Probably long overdue before an accident happens that we regret.
More accidents, there was a bad.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, okay, any other discussion on that? We got a motion, motion and a second.
Roll call, maybe.
All those in favor?
I'll do roll call. Greg Myrie,
Yes.
Cindy Wright,
Yes.
Feldmeyer,
Yes.
Ray Gossett,
Yes,
Jim Weezer,
Yes.
Jonathan Glasspool,
Yes.
Josh Grant. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anything else on other business or our agenda tonight, or are we finished?
Well, I just, what I did is I passed out, and this was mainly for the new people. Just I passed out a guidance document, not proposing to change the guidance document, but one of the things that certainly comes up is the issue of permitting versus conditional use permitting, and that provides the itemized list of what factors play in. And yes, Wayne, there are other factors that could potentially be considered. This isn't intended to be the sole item. It's just, that be aware of these, that this is one of the things that we run into on a very regular basis. That people want to split their parcels. We get a lot of situations where parents want to partition property off so their kids can build a house. It's like, okay, well, if you do, these are the criteria that are going to be part of the situation. That's what we accomplish. So that's where I'm at with passing it. It isn't like I'm trying to, get into the nuances and break down all the parts of it.
So this side by side, and it comes from our own ordinance,
It's
basically.
right. It's-
And that, I think you mentioned where that
it's
is
under
as well.
section
Yep.
14.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good
And it's the difference
clarification.
between 14.2 and 14.3 for the most.
Okay. Any discussion on that or questions? Yes, sir. Please approach
Realize that this is not a public hearing, but go ahead.
if you have some comments, because it's about this particular subject.
Yeah, after reviewing it there for quite a while. And looking at it. This relevant section 14.3 of the Houston County zoning ordinance. The planner has suggested. Revising subsection 10 by changing this from a conditional use. That requires approval by the county commissioners to a permitted use that would allow the planner to issue a building permit. To construct a single family house on any quarter section of the prime ag land. And this change would once again be contrary to the Houston County Comprehensive Plan and Zoning Ordinance. By allowing scattered residential buildings on prime ag land further, this would be taking power and control away from the county commissioners and giving the power and control to the county planner. This change would serve to diminish and reduce and gradually eliminate prime ag and replace it with single family non-farm homes.
Okay, can you give us some reference on
Can you
what
give us a citation?
This is from the yep,
about this?
yep,
And so we have section 10.
Sure.
Well, still right now, it's 1 for 40.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's the name here?
It's still 1 for 40. It's nothing being
Quite sure
changed.
where that
Yeah.
would be accomplished.
This is just general discussion, there was nothing on the table.
yeah, and I just wanted to point that out, that's all, and because we've been up here more than once for this other thing with
Right.
building, and when I seen that this was on the agenda, it somehow, it does coincide with what we're going through now, but that's what's put on the table. And I didn't understand it when I read just the agenda for this meeting. And this here was the one that caught my eye.
So
So-
under the general discussion of other business,
Right,
this is, I guess and so what Martin handed out was the comparison of the protection district Okay, so the 40 or more, less than 40.
Right,
And then, so what you're citing is in our adjustment or our zoning ordinances here, that, how is it in conflict? I'm not sure. Does anybody else? I'm not sure how to interpret this, because I don't see the conflict.
well,
I have a question.
well, if you're gonna go to work and, it actually says so in this here, it says, to class 1 to 3 soils and permitted versus conditional use permits for dwelling.
Okay, condition, right?
That this was on the agenda that he had there.
Yeah, well, no, and that's one of the items that, well, here, I should hand you.
I think it's how it's written.
This is what we're talking about, so.
And, we all agreed, I think this is complicated stuff, so we have to make sure that it's clear.
The idea is that we have new staff, so we're basically giving, that's a guidance document that's been out. With, Rick put that together how long ago? Maybe 10 years ago.
Well, I just, when you see something like that and after what we've been doing here, I just.
Understood.
And I figured if I wanted some answers, I'd have to come here to get them.
Okay.
And I did have one question though, when the commissioners voted down his permits on those 2 housing lots. Are both of them, I mean, and that was another thing that went through my mind is that he's changing it from 2 houses now to 1. Does that warrant that he can come back and apply for another permit with the idea of 1 house instead of 2?
Yes,
But when the commissioner said they voted it down and they took the first permit and they voted it down and they took the second permit and voted it down.
well, that what's in front of you starts to outline the nuance between a conditional use permit and the permit, and one of the keys there is they're both open orders, and then does it contain 40 contiguous acres?
But does that switch, because the thing that it got voted down on is because it is prime ag land.
Well, and then take a look at the list. The prime ag land is on one side and
See,
There's other
Houston County has always promoted keeping our ag land ag.
Right,
there's also other locational criteria that go along with this. This isn't the whole evaluation, but can he come in for a permit based on 40? Yes, he can. For one. The 2 conditional use permits get denied? Absolutely. And if he were to consider those again, he'd have to wait at least a year.
yeah, that was the part, yeah, that I knew. And I just thought if he can turn this around now and just go for 1 house on 40 acres. Then we gotta go through this whole process again.
If you go through a building permit, there isn't as much process.
Right, yeah, that's the part that got me.
But that's no different than anybody else.
Is there 40 there?
No,
Yes.
38.
38,
Well, but then you start to add in do the other units count, and I've been asking for a ruling. on
Why?
The contiguous acres, it doesn't he have like 78 acres?
39.
Yeah. Right, and that's it. So,
You like that stuff. And it's the big-
yeah, stop in. We'll go into this.
Yeah. Is that, so if you want to read this over and
Yeah.
if there's anything further, just.
Yeah.
Talk to Martin and let us know, come back.
like I said, I just read what I thought here and I took it one way and. So I thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good
thank
job.
you so
And if
much.
you got more questions, stop in.
Sure.
I just,
Continuous.
so you're talking about 38 over here, some over here.
In total, the parcel description. Contiguous means connect.
Uh,
That's what I'm working on the rule.
So when that's proposed, it'll have to be looked at again.
Asked our attorney, told me we need to talk with the other attorney. That's exactly what I asked.
We have no formal application.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we're not at that point.
Mhm.
There are questions.
And this was is there any discussion or questions on the handout? Martin, and because that was actually the purpose.
Right.
We're
How
talking about.
about the new guys? You got anything to say or want to ask any questions?
On
Lot
the,
to read.
on the agricultural part for, less than 40 acres. I've seen this more times than I wanted to see it. Around my place where they want to put a house in. They have, even if they got 60 or 70 acres, but they make 2 miles of road to get to the house. So they can't get to the house anyway. And I think we should put a part of an ordinance in there to keep the distance. Under a mile anyway.
All we have is the 12%.
Really.
To that, right?
I had a neighbor lady, she wanted to put a house on top of the hill right next to my house, and she needed 2.5 miles of road. Well, I told her right out, I says, by the time you get the Catville done, you won't have any money for the house. But I've got 3 or 4 neighbors that got housing over 2 miles from the driveway.
There's some amazing driveways. that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And they're deer hunters. They don't have any water or anything there. But when they get in there, they drive through all the land they're gonna hunt with. Well, so that doesn't make any don't make any sense.
Mhm.
I'll think about that when we do ordinance updates, maybe we can take it.
Mhm.
We'll
Great.
look for your input.
How that discussion comes up. That's great. Anybody else have anything else? Yes.
I need to be out of line to ask.
Nothing.
Basically, they said no, so.
It stopped
we're gonna have-
right there. Okay.
I'll make a
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Thanks.
Thank you.